Dear student, once again welcome to Computer Programming in C video series. We are going to cover practical number 5. This practical is also divided into two parts. In the first part, we are going to cover a for loop, and in the second part, we are going to cover while loop. Up till now, the programs that we have seen were having sequential flow of execution. Followed by that, we have even seen programs that follow change in flow of execution with the help of decision control statements. Now, in today's practical, we are going to talk about repetitions. We are going to talk about loops, how to execute a set of statements again and again. So, for the first part, we are going to have a program to print the square and factorial of the entered number using for loop. Now, what are loops? The prerequisites for this practical are variables, loops, and a knowledge to find out factorial. Variables we have already seen in previous videos. Now let us talk about loops. Loops are used in programming to repeat a block of code until some specific condition is met. Means, suppose I am having 5 statements inside my program that I need to execute 10 times. Then in that case, I'm going to make use of a loop and will execute those 5 statements again and again till a particular condition occurs. In this case, the condition is counting till 10. So I'll be executing that block 10 times. There are three types of loop in C programming: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. For loop is used when you know the exact number of iterations or when you know exactly how many times you want to execute the set of statements. While loop is used when you don't know the exact number of iterations or you want to take a decision based upon certain condition. Do while also is used for the same. The only difference between while and do while is that do while guarantees execution of the loop at least once. Means your loop will be executed at least once. Whereas in while, if the condition becomes false at the beginning only, then in that case you will not get a chance to execute the loop. Let us see the syntax for loop. For is a keyword to be used, and in round parentheses you are going to write three statements. The first one is initialization, the second one is test expression, and the third one is update statement. And in pair of curly brackets you are going to write the statements that you want to execute repeatedly. Let us see the example of for loop. It's a very simple example where you are executing the loop from 1 to 10 and you are going to print the value of the loop variable I. I is considered as a loop variable. So this is initialization. You are assigning value 1 to the variable I, and every time you execute the loop, you will evaluate the condition I less than 10. And after executing these statements, the update expression will be executed and it will increment the value of the loop variable I by 1. So in this case, this particular loop is going to print the values from 1 to 9. Now let us talk about our today's program and its expected output. You are going to ask the user to enter a number, and whatever number he or she enters, you are going to return its factorial. Before proceeding with the demonstration, let us now talk about how to calculate factorial. Say the entered number is 3 and I want to find out 3 factorial. Then in that case, I need to carry out multiplication of 3 with 2, and then whatever result I'm going to get, that gets multiplied with 1. So here you can find you are having repetition. You are repeating the multiplication operation. 3 multiplied with 2 multiplied with 1. So if the number entered is 4, it would have been 4 multiplied with 3 multiplied with 2 multiplied with 1. So in every step you are getting some result, and that result you are going to carry out further and you are going to multiply that result with a new number once again. So herein we are going to have repetition. Now let us see the demonstration of this program. So demonstration for printing out square and for finding out factorial of an entered number. Let us now see the demonstration of finding out factorial of a number using for loop. So we are going to have documentation saying program to find out factorial. Then the input for this program is going to be a number. We'll ask the user to enter the number. This part we have already covered in the previous examples. Now let us start with factorial. Now see, a number is not sufficient. You are even going to have few more things. Say I need to take help of one more variable. For finding out factorial, I need a variable fact, and I'm going to use this variable for carrying out further calculations. Apart from that, I need a loop variable I. So let us start with the actual implementation of this factorial. For I equal to 1 to I less than or equal to num, we are going to carry out certain number of steps. And the step is to multiply the variable I with fact variable. So I need to write fact is equal to fact multiplied with I. And after finishing this, I'm going to print the result. So for that, I'm going to make use of factorial is printf statement we are using, and we are printing the factorial. The factorial is %d. We are going to add a new line so that terminal prompt appears on a new line, and just we will display the value of the variable fact. Let us save this example. This is going to be practical 5a. So let us call this 5a.c. Save it, and now open the terminal and execute it. Before execution, we need to compile. So it's practical 5a.c. Compile. There are no errors. /a.out, and it's asking me to enter a number. I'm entering the number 3, and I'm getting a wrong result. Now I have purposefully done this. The reason behind this is I want to talk about the garbage values that you have inside the variables. So here we are entering the number 3. We are expecting the factorial to be 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. In other words, it should be 6. But you are getting it as -70, like this. What is the reason behind that? Now see, whenever you define variables, the variables are going to have some initial values inside them, and these are, in case of C language, these are known as garbage values. So whatever calculations you have carried out by using for loop are carried out with that garbage value, and at the end the result that you are getting is a garbage result. To avoid this, every time you use a variable, specifically if that variable is being used inside calculation, make it sure you assign some value to that variable. Now in this case, if I assign the value 0 to that variable, then in calculation the result will be 0. So we can't assign value 0 to factorial, but we can assign the value 1 to factorial, because if you multiply any number with 1, the result will be the same number. So we are saying fact is equal to 1, and now it's okay. We have corrected the logical error inside this program. Save, and now get back to the terminal, and now compile your example and execute. Now I'm going to enter the same input 3, and now I'm getting the correct output as 6. So now let us see the execution, means what exactly is happening in the code behind. So we are going to start with 1, and we are checking every time whether the value of loop variable is less than or equal to num. The input that we have given for this one was 3. So let us see this step by step. When I is 1, we are going to check whether I is less than num, less than or equal to num, and then we are going to change the value of the variable fact. So initially I is 1, the num variable's value, let us add that one also. Num variable's value is 3. We are checking whether 1 is less than or equal to 3, and the factorial in the first case is 1. This condition is true, so we are going to have 1 multiplied with 1, and the new value for the factorial will remain 1 only. Now at the end of the first iteration, the update expression is executed and you'll get I is equal to 2. You'll be checking whether 2 is less than or equal to 3. This condition is true. Now you'll have 1 multiplied by 2 and the result will be 2. Then I gets incremented, it will become 3. And now you'll check whether 3 is less than or equal to 3. This condition is also true. So you'll be having 2 multiplied with 3 because the value of I is 3 and the previous value of factorial is 2. So 2 multiplied by 3, you'll get it as 6. Now the value of the variable I becomes 4 and you are checking the condition whether 4 is less than or equal to 3. This condition is false and you will not proceed with a further execution. So the final result is factorial of the number 3 is 6. We have carried out iterations, we have carried out the repetitions, and finally we are getting the result. I hope you have understood the logic of finding out factorial. So this was a demonstration of finding out factorial. In the next part of this practical, you are supposed to find out whether the entered number is palindrome or not. Thanks for watching this first part of practical number 5.